So please take a comfortable and upright seat. You can rest your hand in your lap. You're welcome to close your eyes. When you close your eyes, let your attention start filtering into what we call the central channel. Sometimes I like to call that your plumb line. So it also means that if you're giving attention to this internal river of energy and experience, you are saying no to that which is beyond the river banks of your attention. So in yoga, we call this saying yes to this thing you're giving your attention. And we must say no to something else to allow that attention to happen. It's also called abhyasa, giving your concentration, and vairagyam, non-attachment to other things, non-intrusions, non-distractions. Abhyasa also means to make your dedicated effort, and vairagyam also means without attachment to how it's going to turn out. So as you tune in, start sensing that plumb line that is you, and try to sense if you're sitting in the center of your plumb line. You know, and from day to day as we practice, we might realize that some days a certain thought pattern has us pushing the head forward or slouching the shoulders forward and down. Another thought pattern might have us pitching the top of the pelvis forward and flaring the front ribs. So even if it's subtle, just give a little check to this internal plumb line. You can also picture this process of centering yourself, and actually physically, but also neurologically and spiritually centering yourself. The process of respecting the tradition, which we are joining with every time we come to our yoga mats. We are respecting all the teachers who came before us, and they too took an upright seat and learned to give their attention. And you are as well respecting yourself and your body and your practice when you take the time for the centering. Now let's fill that centering process, the plumb line, with the breath. So you inhale from the low part of your pelvis upwards three-dimensionally. So it's an expansive breath, including the heart and the upper back. And then exhale from the base of your pelvis upwards towards your solar plexus. And do that for one more breath cycle, deliberately bringing the breath up from the front spine, deliberately exhaling the breath also up from the front spine, from the base of the pelvis, up the front of the spine. And then please bring your hands together at your heart. We'll chant Asatoma Sadgamaya. Asatoma Sadgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Asatoma Sadgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityodama Amritam Gamaya Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha Hari Om. With your exhale, you may bow your head to your heart. Release your hands. Please open your eyes. We're going to begin with a little bit of seated pranayama using breath of fire and then the inhale process. And one way that we'll do breath of fire this morning goes up to the high mountains of Rishikesh to my teacher there. Her name is Mataji. And she does breath of fire going back and forth between the two nostrils. So it's like exhale left, exhale right, exhale left, exhale right. So we will do that together this morning. But we're going to start with both nostrils, so it's easier for you to do the practice. So sitting upright, please try to follow my pace. You're going to take just like a half an inhale to get started, and then we'll have the rapid, firm exhale through the nose. So please begin. Exhale completely, all the way out through the nose. Tone the low belly as you exhale, exhale, exhale. And then inhale through the nose from the bottom of the pelvis up to the top of the heart. Please hold the in-breath. Exhale through both nostrils, long and slow and smooth. Again, take a half an inhale and please join me through both nostrils. Exhale through both, all the way to the end of the exhale. Tone the low belly. At the end, you inhale again through both, rising up to hold the inhale at the top. Now close the right nostril, exhale left side only. Inhale through both, hold the inhale at the top. Close the left nostril, exhale right side only. And then pause to rest both hands in your lap. Let your body recalibrate. Listen inside the plumb line, the central channel, for the sort of effortless dedication, almost like a magnetic drawing you in to the stream of your best possible presence. Now we're going to do breath of fire, only going back and forth between the two nostrils. So your right hand will stay up using the mudra. It has right, left, right, left, right, left. The hand does not need to move a lot, but it will be gently closing right, gently closing left, back and forth. So let's place the hand in readiness. Enjoy a half inhale. Exhale through both nostrils all the way to the end. Tone the low belly as you do that. Then inhale through both nostrils and suspend the breath at the top in the heart. Close the right nostril, exhale left side only. Keeping the right nostril closed, inhale left side only. Closing the left, exhale right side. Inhale right side. Exhale left nostril. Release your right hand back to your lap. And feeling the influence of the pranayama on your mind and your attention, we now take this to the physical, more dynamic asana practice. So Alice is going to move us to the Sarahjoy phone camera. She can also check chats once in a while if you guys have questions about anything. You can write in there. So when you come up to standing, please place your feet so they're as wide as your yoga mat. We're going to come down to a couple variations on Uttanasana, but let's start here. Interlace your fingers, raise your arms high, and as you take the arms up like this, I'm going to ask you to keep the right heel planted, tippy toe on your left, and twist to your right. A little bit of a back bend, so the right leg was steady there. And then exhale, rotate that back down to center, plant your left heel. Okay, tippy toe on your right toes, inhale up and over to your left. A little bit of a back bend. And then exhale, rotate your right heel back down. Once more, inhale, lift your left heel, twist so the right leg stays forward. You have rotated your pelvis over top of your right thigh. Make a little back bend. And then with an exhale, come to center. Once more, pick up your right heel, inhale, twist, and back bend. And then exhale, rotate that back to center. Sweep your arms wide, bend both knees deeply, and come down to a ragdoll version of Uttanasana, but I would like you to keep the knees deeply bent. And I'll go sideways so you can see that I really mean keep the knees deeply bent. And let the torso be a little bit round, right? So the upper back, the head, the spine, we can have flexion. Keeping your body weight in your heels, Reach your left hand to hold your right ankle and place your right hand on your right knee and twist your upper back to your right, keeping the flexion of the spine. One way to support that flexion is that as you twist, bring your chin towards your throat and gaze past your right knee towards the wall behind you. And then release back to center in the ragdoll position. When you're ready to cross your right hand over your left ankle, and take your left hand to your left knee. And as you twist, keep the flexion of the spine so you can gaze past your left knee towards the wall behind you. It's okay for the right hand to pull a little bit on the left ankle. You are encouraging your upper back on the right side to come towards the twist. So the twist isn't just how much can the left shoulder rotate, but also that the right shoulder blade, the right rib cage, they are twisting towards your left shin. And then come back to your ragdoll position. The knees are still deeply bent. Place both hands on your knees. Press forward like a little back bend, rise up to standing. And see how things are feeling inside. And then step your feet together and let's step into Surya Namaskar. I would like you to use 2 blocks this morning because we're going to play with twists. We did some twisting variations on Sunday in our class too, so you'll see some of those returning. Join your hands together. Initially, take your gaze down past the tips of your fingers towards some place on the floor in front of you, a place your gaze can return to as a kind of, we call dristi, where the eyes become steady. Reach your tailbone. Sense your plumb line right here. It now includes the center of the back of the arches, the center of the front of the heels. Okay, with your inhale, sweep your hands down, wide and up. Raise your heart and your gaze look up between the heels of your hands. When you exhale, come down through Anjali Mudra, spot your gaze on the floor ahead of you, and then gaze back between both heels towards the wall behind you or the back of your mat. Inhale, glide forward, and bring your gaze to that place on the floor in front of you that you chose. And then exhale to deeply bow towards your legs. With this inhale, again, glide forward and bring your gaze to the dristi spot ahead of you. Now exhale, take your left toes straight back. Plant your right heel. Inhale to rise. We call this crescent lunge, as you know. Exhale, airplane pose. Do not rest onto your right thigh, just come close to it. Inhale, rise, airplane pose. Crescent lunge. Yes, good. Exhale, airplane pose. So you're squeezing the breath out with the physical movement and also with the strength of your exhale. Inhale to come up. Do one more time. Exhale, airplane pose. Last time, inhale, crescent lunge. This time, raise your gaze up between the heels of your hands. And then exhale, make a slow, wide circle of the arms. Find your dristi ahead of you, then touch the 2 blocks. Gaze down towards your left toes. Inhale, step your left foot forward to meet your right foot. And exhale, take the right toes back and check that you can see them from where you are. And then as you inhale, sweep your arms wide, gaze towards the point on the floor ahead of you that you chose before. And exhale to airplane pose. Gaze back towards the toes of your right foot. Inhale, crescent lunge. When you rise, place your gaze on the floor in front of you. Just for now, we're going to exhale, airplane pose, and take your gaze back towards your right toes. Inhale, crescent lunge. Gazing on the floor ahead of you. Then exhale, airplane pose. Now as you inhale, rise up, crescent lunge. We're going to stay a few breaths. Lift your gaze up to the place between the heels of your hands. Something you might have noticed there is that when you're training the gaze down on the floor, back to the toes, down on the floor, back to the toes, and then you raise it up, there's a feeling of freedom for the eyes. And now as you exhale, sweep the arms wide, gaze at the front spot ahead of you, and then gaze at the toes of your right foot. So those are for stability. Inhale, step your right foot forward, gaze forward, finding that same drishti on the floor. And then exhale to bow towards your legs. Gaze back between your heels towards the back of your mat. And then inhale, sweep your arms wide, find the front gazing spot on the floor. And exhale, bring your hands down to your heart. So you're gazing over the tips of your fingers at that place on the floor in front of you. So that's stabilizing for the gaze. Notice what happens now if you inhale, raise your hands up and look up between the heels of the hands. So it changes the mood of the pose and the mood of the mind. And now exhale, arms wide, find your drishti, touch the blocks, gaze back between your heels. Inhale, glide forward, look forward. Exhale, left foot back, gazing back at the left toes so you know where they are. Now as you inhale, sweep the arms wide, rise to your crescent lunge, gaze at the drishti ahead of you on the floor. Exhale, airplane pose with a twist. So come down where your left hand finds the block, and as you twist to your right, find a place on the floor that you're going to identify for the eyes to land. And then inhale, level your airplane and rise, crescent lunge. You're gazing forward at that drishti. Exhale, airplane pose, begin adding the twist. You inhale, crescent lunge, forward drishti, upright heart, head and arms. Exhale, airplane pose, add a twist. And inhale, forward gaze, crescent lunge. Stay up and raise your gaze. And then exhale your hands down to your heart. Gaze forward at your drishti. Lightly touch the two blocks and let's step forward. And then right foot back and gaze back at the right toes. You'll see where they are. That's a familiar landing spot. Now we inhale, crescent lunge, gaze forward. And as you exhale, come towards your airplane pose, add a twist. And find a place for your eyes to keep returning to, like your left drishti. And then exhale, rise up on the inhale, crescent lunge, gazing forward. Exhale, twisting, airplane pose. Inhale to rise. And exhale, airplane with a twist. Inhale to rise. Your crescent lunge, gaze forward. Last one for the twist. Rise up, gaze forward on the floor. And then when you lift your gaze, notice the change of the mood in your mind and your body. And then hands to the heart, gaze past your fingertips towards your drishti. Bow over, touch the two blocks, set them aside, and step backwards, downward facing dog pose. In your dog pose, this is symmetrical. It's familiar. Gaze back between your feet. And then close your eyes. And let the eyes, now that they're closed, travel inward towards the back of your head, where sight is translated. You have a memory as you gazed past your feet, a memory that your eyes can still keep seeing the shape of your heels, even though your eyes are closed. You're making the breath still smooth. I'd like you to inhale forward to plank pose. When you arrive in plank pose, you can imagine you're gazing down between your thumbs, even if your eyes are closed. Okay, and then tippy toe forward and come down to Chaturanga Dandasana. Come onto your stomach. Point your toes. Inhale, roll up to Bhujangasana, Cobra, and find your gazing point ahead of you. There it is again, waiting for you to come back. Exhale, roll down and forward. It's called Pranayama. Inhale, roll up. Exhale, roll forward and down. Pranayama. Inhale, roll up, kind of vertebrae by vertebrae, and then your heart and your eyes. Exhale, roll down, gazing inward in Pranayama. Twice more. Exhale slowly down. Last one. Exhale to roll down. Gaze comes inward. Please curl your toes under. And with an inhale, press up to plank pose. Gaze between your thumbs. Reach high to downward dog pose. Gaze back between your heels. And then close your eyes. And though you can still have this internal vision of what the shape of the heels is because you were just gazing in that direction, when you close your eyes this time, move to the interior, the back of your brain where sight is translated, and try to sense the connection of the central channel from there. So you have this river of energy in the body. Moves on the chakra system. It's called the central channel or Sushumna. And just sensing that to the best of your ability. You can imagine what it is. You can let your imagination be open. There's no one right way to see that. And then as you next exhale, step your awkward foot forward first. Then step the other foot forward. Place your feet so they're in Uttanasana again. This time, reach back and interlace your fingers at the small of your back. Roll your shoulders open. Give a good strong squeeze of the shoulders. Gaze back between your heels towards the back of your mat. This is the exhale position. Now we're going to inhale. Bring the heart forward, a little bit like cobra pose, and gaze forward towards your drishti on the floor ahead of you. And then exhale to deeply bow towards your legs. Gaze back past your heels to the baseboard behind you. Please do that again and try tracing the line between these two drishtis. Trace the line really smoothly. So your eyes are not going like a decimal point to another decimal point. It's a smooth line. And you gaze back at the end of the exhale towards the baseboard or the back of your mat. Twice more, please. Making that smooth line with the eyes is like an exercise for your brain and helps to cultivate a certain kind of concentration. Last time, exhale to bow towards your legs, gaze back towards the back of your mat. And then inhale, rise up, hands still clasped. Gaze at the drishti ahead of you. Exhale your hands to your heart. Close your eyes, and though you were gazing down At the forward drishti, move your attention to the back of your head. Stand in the thumb line, the Sushumna. We're going to add another twist to this practice. One will be compressive, one will be expansive. Let's put the two blocks back in for Uttanasana and for one of those twists. Join your hands together, please, once you come back up. And here we go. Inhale the hands down, wide and up. Look up, notice the freedom the eyes have when they look up. And then exhale down through Anjali Mudra. Find your drishti ahead of you. Touch the two blocks, gaze back between your heels to the back of your mat. Okay, inhale, glide forward. Now this time as you exhale, step your left toes back and walk the block under your left hand to the left side of your mat diagonally. Turn the block on your right and turn your toes to your right. Take your right hand to your right knee. And as you lean into your left arm, twist to your right. This is an open and expansive twist. When you're ready to, inhale, raise your right arm high. And let's hold the pose really steady, except for you can improvise with where your head and your neck would most like to be. So for some of you, gazing up is going to feel like a lot of freedom and openness and joy. For some, gazing back past the right hip is going to put the neck into flexion. You'll find that there's a stretch in the upper back or the neck that you may not know is needed. And for others, gazing down past the left hand or the left wrist, there's a different opportunity there for your neck as well. Listen for how your body intelligence would like to move. And then as you exhale, begin unwinding. And I'm going to ask you to keep the right leg as it is and bring your right hand down next to your left block. Then inhale to open. And exhale, bring your right hand down next to your left block. Keep the left arm strong, please. So you're reaching past the left hand. Inhale to open. And exhale, when you come down, keep the left arm strong and reach your right hand past your left towards the floor. Okay, last time. And then exhale and turn your right foot in. Bring both blocks back in. And step your left foot forward, please. When you come to this Uttanasana, notice how asymmetrical the torso feels. Just notice what's happening. And then inhale, glide your heart forward, find your familiar drishti. And exhale, step back now with your right toes. You take the block under your right hand on the diagonal. Turn your left toes and your left block to the diagonal. Take your left hand to your left knee. Right hand firmly on your block as you twist to your left. Try to keep the right leg really steady behind you, please. You are on the toes back there. So keep your right thigh strong, right arm strong. And raise your left arm, and you have a chance to explore now. What is the improvisation that your head and your gaze would most like to explore? And it does not need to be one thing consistently. It does not need to match what you did on the other side. Listen for how you are listening. What is the quality of your attention? And what is the nature of your responsiveness to your body? We aren't improvising for the purpose of evaluating. nor for striving, but really for joy and celebration. What can be learned? And as you next exhale, start bringing your left arm down so it goes past your right hand. Keep the right arm strong. So you're actually twisting your upper back down towards the floor on the left. And then open the twist. Press into your right arm. Be strong, please. And exhale to lower. Keep the right arm steady. Gaze down. Inhale to open. Right arm strong. Left arm without grasping. Exhale to descend. Keep the legs steady. Once more, inhale to open. Make the right arm strong and stable. And exhale to descend. Then center your left foot. Bring your blocks back in. This time, keeping the two blocks, please step backwards to downward dog pose. So your downward dog is elevated. Close your eyes. And while gazing back to the heels, you might have seen the shape of the heels. Now bring your attention to the back of your head, where your body translates sight. And try to sense the river of the chakras. Sometimes I call, as you heard me say, the central channel or the plumb line. And sometimes I like to say the river. And when you next inhale, roll forward to plank pose. And then glide your heart forward, step over your toes, upward facing dog pose. Gaze forward to your drishti from before. Press the tops of your feet down and isometrically squeeze the feet towards each other. The feet can be hip distance apart here. So when you squeeze the feet in, the inner thighs should wake up. And then the heart rises from there. And touch the knees down and reach your hips back to child's pose. Bring one block with you for your forehead. Put the other block aside. Rest your forearms like in Sphinx pose now. And invite your heart and your upper back to release whatever tension or apprehension they are carrying. Okay, you guys are ready for the more, what I call the more compressive twist. So to give you a sense of this, I know that some of you have knee replacements and I have a hip replacement. So for some of you, kneeling on the floor is not comfortable. So I'm going to take this stack of 2 blankets. I'm recommending this for you also. You place it down so that the shin will be on the blanket and the kneecap will be just past the edge of the blanket. So there won't be pressure on your kneecap. You may want blocks, you may not, so bring them with you. And let me do this so that you're going to see, let's see, your view. I'm going to put my right foot forward because for you to see the twist is helpful. So what I'm going to do here to show you, the left shin goes like this. And then the right foot steps forward. So my kneecap is not actually on the floor, nor is it directly on the blanket. Yeah, and the pose comes down. I'm more forward than I want to be in this camera. Let me back this up so I can still see you guys. Okay, so the shin goes at the front edge here on the blanket, and the kneecap has a place that's not on the floor and not on the blanket. Okay, that's better for me. Now, you're going to put your right hand on your right knee. Keep the block under your left hand, this one here, on the medium setting. And press down into both hands. Okay, squish your low belly across your right thigh. Imagine you're going to take the belly button over the top of the right thigh. Then, keeping your right hand steady, hook your left elbow or armpit over your right knee. Make a couple times for that hook, so you actually have to swoosh the belly more than once. Now take your left hand to your right shoulder. Keep your right hand firm against your right thigh. Gaze back past your right elbow. So the spine's actually in flexion during this twist. You want to sense the twist does include the belly button, the mid-torso, your upper back, your heart. Sometimes during a twist, your body starts breathing in a more shallow manner. See if you can invite a deeper breath to come back in. And sense the inhale can expand the back hemisphere of your body, including on the left side, the left hemisphere. And then as you exhale, unwind from there. Place your left hand back on your block, bring the right block back in. We press into both hands, curl the left toes under, and for a few moments, straighten both legs. So you are squeezing the belly muscles on the right side. Now you are letting them soak a little bit. They are free to receive the inhale. I'd like you to pick up the toes of your right foot. Hopefully you can see that on mine. So I'm on the back of my heel here. And then rotate your right leg. So your toes go to the right. And do that a few times. You're giving a little twist to the right thigh. Lengthen the right side of your waist. You can think of it like if you were the Tin Man, you're getting the oil into the joints. You open the right side of the waist, and then let's bend the right knee. Please touch your left knee down momentarily and change sides. So right shin back, left foot forward. Check that you are where you want to be on your blanket with your shin. Ease yourself forward like Anjaneyasana. Place your left hand on your left knee and your right hand firmly on the block to start. You're pressing down to both hands, draw the spine into flexion and squish your belly button across your left thigh. Then hook your right elbow or your right armpit over your left thigh. And bring your right hand to your left shoulder. Gaze back past your left elbow so your twist has spinal flexion. Allow the breath to come into the abdomen, but also the back of your waist and the right side of your waist. If your breath got choppy or shallow, you have to re-inspire, to re-inhale. The word inspire actually means to fill with spirit. So when we're inhaling, we are inspiring, we are filling with spirit. Okay, and then release your compressive twist. Take your right hand back to your block, left hand to your block. Curl the right toes under. Please straighten both legs and pick up the toes of your left foot. So you're on the back of your left heel here. The blocks under your hands could be made taller. They can also be made closer to your torso if that helps you. And we're going to swivel. The left toes swivel out. And then they can swivel back in. And it's like you're the Tin Man getting some oil for your left hip. You're also going from a compressive twist on the left side of the body. That was compression. And now when you swivel your left leg to the left, that's called external rotation. And the left side waist gets a little bit more expansive. It's external rotation of your leg, adding to the length of the torso on your left. We'll do that one more time, please. Okay, and then place your left toes down. Bring your right knee down. And sit back momentarily to kneeling. Rest your hands in your lap, like this. And just check and see what's present now. Maybe there's a lot swirling because you really are moving your physiology around. It's more than the musculoskeletal body. Okay, and then please watch here for a moment. We're going to set up for a variation on bridge pose using these two blankets and your two blocks. And the two blankets, where the blankets end is where your shoulders are going to be. So you need one block for each foot. I'm going to place my blocks there. So these blankets should be stacked firmly right here. And if you put your fists on them, you should feel like, oh yeah, that's a pretty firm foundation. That's where the end of your shoulders are going to be. Your head will be on the floor here, where my knees are right now. So you sit, without me knowing the dimension of everybody's blankets perfectly, you're going to sit and lie back, checking that where your shoulders end right here, you are about an inch from the top of the blankets, right through there. Okay, you have your two blocks here, place them under your feet. Please keep watching for a moment. When you go up now to this bridge pose, you're going to have more space for the neck because you're on the two blankets. And I'd like you to be able to reach under, and when you clasp the hands, you take one shoulder, second shoulder. So you're up in your bridge pose with the shoulders on the blankets, your head on the floor. Notice that my wrists have nothing to touch because of the length of the blankets. So you just be wise, take care. It's really the effort of the shoulders to press down more than your wrists anyhow. So please join me in bridge pose now. So set up on your blankets with your feet on your blocks. And when you roll up, notice if having the two blankets makes it easier for you to tuck your shoulders under. This variation is in response to a couple questions that I had. So how to make the shoulders more capable and how to give more ease to your neck, your throat, and your heart. So the tucking under of the shoulders is really firm and the actions of the arms are dynamic. Lift your heart. Your chin does come in towards your throat. You are closing the throat bandha right now, the throat chakra. Keep the legs steady so your heels are grounded. Tone the muscles at the back of your butt so the tailbone continues to lengthen towards your knees. Okay, and then as you're about to come down, I'd like you to clasp the hands more snugly. It is possible to keep your shoulders grounded. Lower your hips down as if you're going to sit on your forearms or your wrists. Please keep the shoulders grounded. Do not let the chin poke up towards the ceiling, please. Keep the shoulders rooted. The hips may not be completely down against your forearms, particularly if you have the temptation to eject the chin. Please don't. And then press into your heels, go back up to bridge pose. This time, release your hands out to the side so they're not going to be in the way, and you can roll down vertebrae by vertebrae from the upper back to the back of the heart to the mid back. Now when you get down here near the lumbar spine, you're going to run out of blanket because of the circumstance of how we folded the blanket. This is going to be okay. You will survive it. Lower your hips down to the yoga mat. And notice how that has the spine. You kind of end up releasing towards your hips. You can put your feet on the floor. Your head is likely still on the mat behind your blankets. Please roll to one side. I'm moving my blocks out of the way so I can roll more easily to the side. And rise up to sitting. Okay, so that's an exploration in your bridge pose. Now I'm going to ask you to take these two blankets aside, you don't need them. And reach back with only one block on the floor behind you. Put the block on the medium setting like this. The other block you want to be close to your hand. I have to put my hood on so you can see where we're going. Otherwise it's going to be in the way for your understanding. So let me keep this block close to my hand right here. So this is a supported fish pose. When I lie back on this block, the second end of the block is going to go here. So this is my 7th cervical vertebrae. And then you go down 1, 2. That's where the end of the block is going to be. So when I lie backwards, I'm looking for that outcome. And then this block goes under the back of the pelvis. And the head can come over like fish pose. You see how my hood had to be removed there, had to be used and then removed. Okay, so when you come over to this fish pose, take the elbows to the floor, please. And the palms of the hands can be face down. And for anybody for whom, when you come over and you find your place here, you want that block between the upper corners of the shoulder blades. And if when you're coming down, you feel like, wow, it's a really long way for your head to get to the floor, then you reach for a blanket to put under your head. But don't do it too soon. It's possible that if your hips are the right height, you should be on the medium setting of the block. It's possible that once the heart and the shoulders get used to this, the angle of the throat could be like a gentle back bend from the heart to the throat to the crown of the skull. If that's not the case, then please do put something under your head. This is a supported fish pose, and fish pose Matsyendrasana is a counter pose to Setu Bandhasana, not because the poses have to be countered, but one pose closes the jalandhara bandha, and the other pose opens the throat, this one. Allow the shoulders to melt back towards the floor. Soften the corners of your eyes and the hinge of your jaw. And we're going to release from fish pose. To do that, you put the block under your pelvis. You put that one aside. Place your palms face down underneath where your hips will land. Lower your hips onto the backs of your hands. Take one leg out straight and then the other. And press down into your hands to roll your heart up and then your head. Put the second block aside. Roll onto your back. Bring your knees and feet up and take hold of the feet in Baddha Konasana. And bring your shoulders in Baddha Konasana down towards the floor, please. Allow the breath to come down to your lower belly and your pelvis right now. Maybe the inner groin is stretching, maybe the inner thighs, maybe not. But allow the breath to come down to the lower pelvis. As you hold your feet, press your shoulders gently towards the floor. Keep the back of the neck now long and relaxed. And then you can release your feet, and using any sort of Shavasana pose that you love, or you can come to a basic Shavasana. You stretch the legs out like this. I'm going to ask you to do one thing before Shavasana related to your eyes. So if you take the two hands and rub them, you're making the hands warmer. And then take the warmth of the palms of your hands onto your eyes, please. And send your eyes inwards towards the back of your head, in towards the river of the chakras. And then release your hands and arms out to the side. I'm going to ask you to imagine each of the chakras moving towards the back hemisphere of the body, resting in that river of energy that moves through you. So imagining the sixth chakra has moved back towards the back of the skull. And from this place of clear vision, of clairvoyance, gaze down towards the fifth chakra. And try softening from the front of your throat, through the middle of the throat towards the back of your throat. And gazing down from the most loving perspective of the eyes, past the fifth chakra to the fourth, allow the heart to rest towards the center of the chest and then towards the back of the shoulder blades. And then gazing towards the third chakra, let the solar plexus soften, and all the organs in the abdomen, so that even this chakra rests towards the river at the back of the body. And gazing down towards the second chakra, allow this chakra also to soften from the front belly towards the inner belly, towards your sacrum. And then down to the first chakra at the pelvic floor. Allow the bones of the pelvic floor to relax. And for the pelvic floor to soften. Allow that heaviness to continue. You are resting and resting and resting more deeply yet again. Allow all four limbs to be at ease. Your hands and heels heavy against the ground beneath you. Allow yourself to rest very deeply. The mind, the heart, the chakras. We rest in the larger river of love and consciousness. Allow that resolve to continue a little heavier over the next several moments. Let the mind also become more grounded, the senses at ease. Slowly welcome a slightly deeper breath in. Notice the experience of the breath. And gently wiggle your fingers and your toes. Please bend one knee at a time. And roll to your side. When you are ready to, you may use both hands to come back up to sitting. As you rise up to sit, please take a comfortable seat, an upright seat. Rest your hands in your lap and try to sense now this inner river it's in its vertical position again. Sometimes it's helpful to put the hands out over the knees like a little pyramid position. Let your attention stay inward. So you can kind of realize the inner benefits of your practice. Let them simmer within you. Let yourself rest in the inner quiet. Even if there's thoughts, even if there's birds in the sky is still vast. Allow this process to be inward, so you get to realize the deep benefit of your practice. And keeping that attention inward, let there now become a memory making, a felt sense of this in you that you will be able to return to any moment in the course of the day. Please bring your hands together at your heart. Thank you very much, everyone. Namaste. So nice to be with you. You did a great job in the practice. It's a complex practice, but you follow yourself.